Okay, hello everybody, it's Jeffrey Runescapefar. How you all doing today? So, before we begin this video, this is a top 10 best Japanese horror movies part 2, made by Lovable Hatsune Miku. I got an announcement. I am getting my A+ certification, so I'll be a verified computer technician and repair person. So, with that in mind, videos again will be limited. However, Saturdays and Sundays will most likely be when I can upload videos if I don't have homework. So, without further ado, let's begin.
It's just my personal opinion on the movies. I don't think all of them are great on this list, to be honest, because some of them I found were okay, and then some of them I found were like really good, but of course half of the people probably don't know these movies exist because I've never seen them on top 10 lists, some of the movies I put on this list. So hopefully I can introduce you to a movie that you've never seen before. I do apologize that this one's kind of rushed and it's not as good as my other one, but please understand that it is very hard to make videos during college because if you have a roommate you get no privacy whatsoever, and the only time you can probably make a video and
Yeah, I faced the same problems. I constantly had to stop doing videos because my roommates would come in with music and stuff, and I had to immediately stop the video because that was copyrighted music. Or they just walk in and interrupt me, and they weren't horrible people. They just, I don't know, they were good people. So I'm not going to say anything bad about them. They were good people.
colleges if you wait for your roommate to leave, so please understand. So without any further ado, let's just get right on to the countdown. Starting off the countdown at number
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that last thing was very creepy as hell.
10 is Nori the Curse. The film focuses on Masafuma Kobayashi, a paranormal expert who products a series of books and documentaries on a supernatural activity around Japan. He disappeared in the process of making his first disturbing documentary, The Curse. His house burnt down and his wife Kiyako was found dead in the ruins. Kobayashi investigates a woman named Junko Ishii and her son after her neighbor hears strange noises coming from her house. Kobayashi learns Ishii has moved out and finds dead pigeons surrounding her house. Ishii's neighbors and her daughter die in a mysterious car crash a week later. Kana Yono, a girl who inhabits psychic powers on a television program, disappears shortly after. So my thoughts on this movie was that it was an okay movie, not a good one to be honest. I mean, I thought it was an okay movie. I know it's higher on other top 10s list, but the problem I found in this movie was that there is a lot of talking in this movie, and I know what you're going to say, well duh, it's a movie, of course there's going to be talking in it. But literally, I mean, there is so much talking in this movie, like half of the time the characters don't even shut up. It's kind of like, you have to read a lot, so you have to like really focus on what they're saying because they might say something really important that you might miss that actually makes a lot of sense in the movie. I do like that it's a documentary movie, and I think it's actually based on a true story or something like that. I don't know, but this movie's old. I think it came out in like, I don't think it was 1997 maybe, but anyways.
It looks like it came out in the 90s era just by the video quality, but then again, it wasn't until later in the 2000 era where we got better video equipment to make better movies. So probably 90s, the earliest, 2005 maybe the latest. I would actually have to look it up, but my phone's charging, so can't look it up. But that does look like an interesting movie.
It's about like this guy, and he like goes to other people's houses, like investigating like weird stuff. Like honestly, I thought this movie was going to be like about ghosts, but it's kind of like that, but not really. Like in one scene there's the girl like I named what was her name, Kana. She's kind of cute. Like she gets like these psychic powers, like she can tell the future almost kind of thing. They're eating at this dinner table with their family, and then she screams no because apparently like something is talking to her, even though that gets mentioned only once in the movie and it makes like no sense. And then like the dishes kind of move off the table, so that was like kind of the only kind of paranormal thing we see in the movie. And then they there's this girl, like she's an actress or something, she goes to like a haunted shrine and then she has like a panic attack or some sort of seizure, or she gets like possessed almost, and there's like this psychic guy, Hori I think his name is. Hori, I think? Yeah, I think that's his name. He's probably like the best character in the whole movie, just my opinion. Because I like that he's that crazy guy that wears aluminum foil to protect himself from those, like, voices and, like, he talks about, like...
That reminds me of an episode of Futurama. Just more nicer looking. than Hatsune.
These worm things, and I thought he was like the most interesting character in the whole film because all the expression he makes, like if he doesn't like something, he'll like scream, and he'll like the way he talks, it's just very interesting. I don't know, I found him to be like my favorite character in the movie, even though I feel bad for him because everyone thinks he's crazy. I'm like, this guy's not crazy, he can like tell what's gonna happen. He's like knows what's gonna happen. I think that's kind of cool, but at the same time I do feel bad for him because he's always like so paranoid. He's got like aluminum foil all over his house, but he's definitely an interesting character, so I really do like him. But if you guys want to watch this movie, I do recommend it. Just I hope you like reading a lot because this movie definitely focuses on lots of talking, so definitely read the captions pretty fast and listen well too, because everything at the end of the movie does add up. You just have to watch and listen really carefully, and hopefully you guys can enjoy this movie more than I did. Starting off at number 9, we have Shin Hikiko-san. A girl named Hikiko Mori was
Okay, that poster kind of looks very eerie and creepy looking. I like it.
Taunted and bullied relentlessly by her classmates, eventually resulting in her accidental death. Holding a grudge against all bullies, Hikiko's spirit now haunts her former school, slowly gathering the strength to exact her vengeance on the living. A group of frightened girls decides to investigate the rumors, and what they find convinces them that they have to stop the spirit of Hikiko-san before it's too late. Now, when I finished this movie, I was definitely confused because they didn't really give a reason why this girl was a ghost. Because at the beginning of the movie, it's like there's these like schoolgirls, and one of them is like she has like this like she's on this like website about the ghost, and she thinks it's real. Like this killing happens, some boy gets killed, and she thinks it's the ghost Hikiko-san. But her friends are like, oh, you need to stop like with that stuff. And one of the girls has an adorable little sister. Oh my god, she's so cute. But kind of spoiler alert, she dies by the ghost Hikiko-san, I think. And the sister and the other friends, oh my god, I swear to god. I just want to say one thing about this movie. Everyone in the movie, except for the main character, you will freaking hate. I swear to god. Let me tell you why.
That's very rare in a movie that I would hate literally almost every single character. Unless it is... crap, what is it? Lost in Space, the movie. The cast was just horrible. Horrible. All of them were. And the movie was god-awful, too. They should have kept it as a TV show.
Like once the little girl's, like the little sister dies of the friend of hers, everyone at school decides to bully her and call the girl Hikiko-san. And they're saying, oh, it's your fault her sister's dead, even though it's not her fault. It makes no sense. Like, her own friends, like, turn on her. And this one girl kind of watches her. Like, I think she wanted to help her, but I was thinking, like, okay, is she gonna, like, help her? Because, oh my god, the way they treat her in this movie is horrible. Like, I cannot stand bullying in a movie. And I feel even more bad for her because at home, her father abuses her, and the freaking mother just doesn't do anything about it. She just stands there and watches.
Wow, that's actually kind of fucked up, really. But that does happen in real life. So, there's a certain surrealism, I think I'm using that word correctly, in this movie, it sounds like. Minus the paranormal stuff. Bullying happens like that all the time. I mean, I've been bullied since I was in 2nd grade. I finally stopped after I got out of high school, and look at me. I'm going back in my A+ certification, gonna get a good job. Guys who bullied on me, they work at AutoZone for minimum wage. I'm gonna be doing better than them.
And I'm guessing maybe she's afraid, but come on, like, if I was married and if my husband hit my own child, I would divorce them immediately, not just stand there and watch them. Like, oh my god, everyone, and the freaking dumb part is, like, the teacher doesn't even do anything about it. Like, I know I'm kind of ranting on about this movie, and I should be talking about the good things about it. I mean, there are some good things about it, like the ending. I just want to say, I love Sweet Revenge. Just want to say that. Don't want to spoil it, but yeah. I thought the movie was okay. Not the best because the quality is very bad considering it's from like 2010. Like, you think it would be better quality. It kind of looks like a film, like a high school.
See, there are 2 techniques for this. Or actually 3 explanations for this. One, they had a very, very low budget and could only afford mediocre, low-grade equipment to film this. Or, with extension, the company that filmed this didn't have enough money to update all their equipment. So either if this was an independent film, they didn't have enough money to buy the equipment, or if it was a big company who made this, they didn't have enough money to upgrade to better equipment. Now, second might be if it's a period piece, so like it takes place a long time ago or is supposed to, sometimes they will purposely use older cameras to give it that sort of feel, and they will record movies like that. Like, for instance, a good example would actually be Blair Witch Project. If you haven't seen it, that's a pretty good movie. It's basically built up around suspense, so there's no blood or gore. It's actually a very good suspense movie. So if you're into suspense movies, Blair Witch Project. But that whole movie was filmed on a camcorder, not a professionalized, professional recording equipment. It was just a camcorder. So for that, it gave it that more realistic effect of, especially the way they campaigned the movie. The ad campaigns, that movie was good. They did a very good job promoting it and everything. And just the way they recorded everything, they knocked it out of the ballpark with the low budget. So when you get movies like that purposely do it, and then can actually pull it off and tie it in, and just don't do it to do it, then yeah, that's pretty much it. So either the company couldn't afford the new equipment, or the people, if there was an independent film, they couldn't afford new equipment, or they did it on purpose. Those are usually some of the big cases of why that is that way.
Student would make, honestly, to be honest, and some of the scenes are very bad, especially in the dark. Like, you can't even tell what's going on. Like, there was this one scene at the dinner table, I didn't even notice there was like a third person sitting there. I mean, I kind of had a feeling, but it was just so dark, like I could barely see the freaking girl. And
So this was made in 2010, and you're seeing that most likely this was a independent film or a very crappy movie company. And believe me, they exist. I think it's Sweet Tunes or Spark Tunes. That covers like horrible animation videos that these people make in other countries, and the animation, they're made in modern day time, but the CGI looks like the CGI back in 2000, like blocky, horrible. There's so many errors and mistakes in the movie, and overall it wasn't written well, but these are small independent companies, so they're not like part of a big company that makes millions of dollars. And that's probably what this company is, because lighting techniques, professional movie companies would have down to a T. Independents, not so much, because again, lighting equipment is very expensive, and the film was shot in low quality. Then this comes back to my theory that this was an independent film, and they couldn't afford high HD, 1080p, or even 720p cameras, and they couldn't afford the lighting, so this was most likely independent, low budget.
I was like, oh, there's a third person at the dinner table. But yeah, you might want to watch this movie in the dark, or turn up the brightness on your computer if you have to, because there will be some scenes in the movie where you just don't know what the frick is going on, and I really don't like that. But otherwise, I think the movie is okay. Hikiko-san is kind of forgetful Japanese ghost character, I will say, but the way she walks, she has like her hand kind of like it looks like her arm got broken, and it's kind of cool. She kind of like has it up, and it's kind of like curled up almost. It's definitely interesting how she walks, very slow though, kind of up for
She actually kind of looks like a knockoff of Leatherface, kind of with the facial features there. It's like you got Leatherface's face, you got zombie arms, and it's weird. And again, pointing to what she said, you can see all the static there. Now that could be because somebody took a picture of this and screenshotted it or something, but if that's the actual quality in the movie, that's more like a 420p probably. So again, going back to the theory that independent film, low budget, couldn't afford proper equipment.
forgetful Japanese ghost character, I will admit, but I think the movie was okay, and if you guys want to watch it, then please do. Starting off at number 8, we have Audition. Shigeharu Ayama, a middle-aged widower, is urged by his 17-year-old son, Shigehiku, to begin dating again. Ayama's friend Yoshikawa, a film producer, devises a mock casting audition at which young women audition for the part of Aoyama's new wife. Aoyama agrees to the plan and is immediately enchanted by Azumi Yamazaki, attracted to her apparent emotional depth. Yoshikawa develops misgivings about Asumi after he is unable to reach any of the references on her resume, such as a music producer she claimed to work with, who is missing. However, Aoyama is enthralled by her that he pursues her anyway. She lives in an empty apartment containing a sack and a phone. Oh boy, where do I begin with this movie? Now, I know this movie is definitely more higher on a lot of other top 10 lists for Japanese horror movies, and I definitely kind of understand because it's definitely an interesting movie. There's barely any horror in this movie, I will say. I mean, yeah, we all know what happens to the guy if you've seen the clips from the movie, but that's not until like the end of the movie, and it's like, why? I mean, I like the kind of like the way he interacts with the girl, like the dates he like goes on with her. It's kind of sweet because he's spending so much money on her, and she's shy, and she's talking about her childhood, and she actually does have a tragic backstory, which I think no kid should ever go through. And the dance teacher or uncle or whatever the frick he was, I found that guy really creepy. And if you guys have seen the movie, you definitely know what I'm talking about, because that guy was just really freaking creepy, and what he did to her was just wrong on so many levels. Honestly, I'll never look at an old man in a wheelchair the same way again, honestly. I thought the movie was okay. I definitely like the dynamic between the father and the son, like their relationship. They have like a pretty nice, decent relationship, and there's like a beagle, like they have a pet dog, and its name is Gang, and I swear to God, that beagle is like the cutest thing ever. Oh my god, it was probably like my favorite character in the movie, to be honest. It was so adorable. But sadly, I didn't like this film as much as I thought I would, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I thought it was an okay movie, but I don't know. It's just weird to me. I mean, a lot of people feel the same way about it too. Like, they have like mixed reviews. Like, I heard like when it was filming, like people actually walked away from this movie because of the gory part at the end. I mean, when I was watching it, I kind of just had like a straight poker face because, I don't know, somehow it didn't bother me. I was just like, okay, she's doing that to the guy who treated her like a princess. Okay. I mean, you kind of have to feel bad with her because she does have like mental health issues. And I actually like kind of thought about it more, because since that she was treated so badly, I think she thinks that, in my opinion, I think she thinks that torture is a sign of love in a way. I mean, I know that sounds weird, but that's
actually not weird at all. She might actually also be suffering from kind of like a Stockholm syndrome, where the actions of the abuser are decentralized or essentialized, I think. I can't think of the right word right now. But basically, their torture becomes like their form of affection for them, if I remember this correctly. It's been a while since I've taken psychology and sociology. But when you isolate somebody with somebody like that for a long time, they basically start developing feelings, and everything they do to them, they just accept as that's how they're showing their love to them. If they grow up around that environment, then that's how they are. You are the people that raise you. So if your parents raise you to be a good, disciplined child, you'll be a good, disciplined adult. If you're raised by a parent who really doesn't care about you whatsoever, you're most likely going to wind up in a gang or being a criminal. These are actually based on facts. So you can actually look them up, and there's so many articles out there. I can't remember the one we used in my psychology class. It was through one of the databases we were given access to through my universities. But yeah, if you have access to a university database, look at some psychological articles that are peer reviewed. They're pretty interesting.
what I kind of think. Because she doesn't know any better. Like, all her life, she just got tortured and beat up. So she probably, because I think the dance teacher said, I love you or something, and I think her father also beat her up. No, wait, her stepfather, I think that was it. Because she does get beat up in the movie, and she does have like a brutal childhood, so I think when she hurts someone she loves, she thinks it's her way of showing that she loves them. I really feel sorry for her the girl Asami, I think that's her name. But yeah, this movie I thought was actually going to be at number 1 because I actually had really high hopes for this movie, but surprisingly I was kind of let down, but at the same time I did enjoy it. Like, especially the dog, it was just so cute. But that's just my opinion. Don't kill me, guys. Number 7 is Kotsubu. Eri is a female high school student who goes completely unnoticed by her classmates. In contrast, her childhood friend Mitsuko is the class leader and is constantly hit on by her creepy teacher, Chida. In order to protect her friend, Eri obtains a funeral mound to hold ashes that curse certain deaths for anyone who gets them in their mouth. I know that sounds really short for the plot, because this movie is definitely interesting. I've never even heard of this movie, and I think I just randomly found it.
Okay, I'm starting to notice a pattern here, Lovable Hatsune Miku. I think these are indie films or independent films. Because I know you're a big Japanese horror movie person. I haven't really seen many. I think except for maybe The Ring. I think that's Japanese. I might be wrong, but a lot of these just look from how the plot's written, the story's written, how they're filmed, and the quality. These all sound like independent films so far. So maybe you want to put these on a top 10 interesting indie Japanese horror movies or something like that, because they don't seem mainstream. And Japan's a very, very high-tech place, so for these people to have such poor quality videos, movies, everything to be poorly written, and it, I just really have a strong feeling that these are all independent films.
To be honest, because, I've never seen this movie on a top 10s list, and I watched the trailer and I thought, okay, I'll give this movie a shot, and to my surprising, it was actually not that bad. I mean, I freaking hate the teacher that hits on the girl. I mean, frick, I can see why she wants him dead. Mitsuko is definitely a really nice character, but the other 2 friends she has, I kind of hate them. One is just a jerk. One actually has feelings for the teacher, while the other one's I don't know, she's kind of just there. And the girl, Eri, I think, or Eri, whatever her name was, the main character, I felt really bad for her. I actually really do like her, and the ending to the movie is actually pretty sad, I won't lie. But it's kind of a bittersweet kind of ending at the same time. But yeah, I really didn't like the teacher. I hate it when I think it's just so cringy when people have a crush on their teacher and the teacher hits on the students and sexually harasses them. I think it's just so creepy and wrong on so many levels. But I definitely did like the story, because it's about the girl gets these ashes from a deceased girl. I forgot what her name was, but they actually do show the ghost of her, and it's actually kind of sad of how she died. But anyways, you have to get the ashes, and she puts it in this vial, and she puts it in the teacher's drink, but he doesn't drink it because the other girl gives it to another teacher that did not deserve to die, because I thought she was really sweet, because like I said, one of the friends actually has feelings for the teacher, so she's like, I'm gonna stop him. But yeah, definitely a sad ending. A lot to explain about the ghost is, well, I guess if you drink her ashes, you'll see her and you'll freak out and you'll die. And for some reason, when you die, your arm will go missing, your right arm. And they don't really explain why that's a thing in the movie. And they don't really tell us why there's a curse to this dead person. It's just okay, this person died, there's a curse to it. They don't really explain it too well, so you kind of have to read about it on the internet to understand kind of about it. But the ending actually does make sense, and it's sweet and sad at the same time, so definitely give this movie a watch, you guys. Number 6 is Fatal Frame. Aya, the most popular student at the Catholic all-school girl, suddenly shuts herself in her room. Her admirer, Kazumi, no...
Did you say Catholic?
all-school girl suddenly shuts Fatal Frame. Aya, the most popular student at the Catholic all-school girl...
That's surprising. There's not that many Catholics in Japan. I actually had to do a thing over an incident, the nuclear waste incident up there, and for my OSHA class, yes, I had to take an OSHA class for graphics. Don't ask me. But there's only 2 primary religions in Japan. I cannot for the love of me remember them, but I still have my article saved, so I might put that in the description. But yeah, there's only two primary religions, and the Catholic religion is not one of the two main Japanese religions. So the fact that they have a Catholic school in Japan is kind of interesting.
Girl suddenly shuts herself in her room. Her admirer, Kazumi Nohara, kisses her photo at midnight and suddenly disappears with her friend Michi as a witness. Her disappearance is quickly attributed to a support curse that affects girls who kiss the photo of the person they admire at midnight. Aya's photo is taken to the attic by Sakuya Itsuku and reset for safekeeping, but the two alongside 3 other girls are enticed to kiss the photo, except for Risa, who is later found dazed but alive, all of them eventually found dead in a nearby river. Now, I actually saw this movie actually sometime around Halloween when I was in college, so my memory about this movie is a little off, along with some of the other movies I have on this list. But you know, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I mean, I randomly found the trailer on YouTube, and I was like, I actually want to watch that movie. I don't know anything about the video game. I forgot to mention it's based off of a video game, and it's nothing like the video game. I don't know anything about the video game, but I know that you have to have this camera, and you have to take pictures of ghosts to defeat them, and the closer you are to the ghost, I think the more damage it does to the ghost. I could be wrong, but that's just my take on it.
I think that was a PlayStation 2 game, I think I've seen it played a couple times when I was at a gaming club at my university. But most adaptations of video games and movies, whether it be international or domestic, usually turn out crap. So that's why I was so happy with Pokemon Detective Pikachu. That was such a good movie, and as soon as that got big success, here comes Sonic the Hedgehog with his movie, going right off the back of that. Just like Rocket Man came out right after Bohemian Rhapsody, because they see one thing works, so, oh, this works, let's use the same formula, but change it. And no, it doesn't work the same. It doesn't, because then you're just stealing the same plot line, just different thing. And it just doesn't tend to work out. Of course, now they are going back and refixing up Sonic, but I don't know if the movie could be saved. I mean, the PR nightmare for that, and you got so much backlash for the character, and I don't blame him. The character looks so rushed, and I mean, look at Detective Pikachu. All the Pokemon look like they actually look in the games and anime. Yet here comes Sonic, who looks nothing like his video games or TV show characters whatsoever. He doesn't even have the iconic spikes. He doesn't have the gloves, the shoes. The most iconic thing about Sonic is his shoes, and they ruined that. How can you do that? So most video games based off or movies based off of video games tend to be horrible, and more live action ones like this one, I guess, would be Street Fighter would be one, the Super Mario Brothers, where they kind of completely ignore the storyline and plot, or they just try to include it in little bits and pieces that is irrelevant and makes no sense whatsoever. And it's like they never played the games before. They just get the gist of what it is. So yeah, that if you see a movie based off of video games, have that expectation, because that's what I went into with Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and I was actually glad to be proven wrong.
But yeah, I watched the movie actually on Halloween day. I was watching it because my roommate went trick-or-treating, so I was like just in my room watching this movie, and I was eating noodle soup. I know, it's super cheesy, and I was watching it, and I really did enjoy it. Like, there were some parts where I just had to go like question like what is gonna happen next. Like, I like it when a movie actually makes me question and makes me want to know what's actually gonna happen next. I mean, it does seem a little slow in some parts, and there's not a lot of boys in this movie except for this one dude. I think he's like a priest, I think, and there's like a gardener dude that kind of has like a problem with his foot, and there's actually a reason why he's like that at the end of the movie. But yeah, I really liked the character Aya. She's actually really pretty, I won't lie. And I like how quiet and mysterious she is. And Risa, I think she's the girl with short hair. I could be wrong. Again, I saw this movie like a while ago, so my memory is off. But yeah, I really did like the movie. I know some people kind of complained about the movie, and some liked it and some didn't like it. And honestly, I've never seen this movie on the top 10s list, and that really sucks because I really think this movie is amazing. And I think more people should definitely know about this movie, depending on if you play Japanese video games and watch the movies based on them. But yeah, my thoughts on it was that it was really good and I really liked it, and the ending is definitely a shocker. Like, honestly, just go watch this movie, it's amazing. Number 5 is Teke Teke 2. The story of Teke Teke, the ghost with no legs, continues. Conflicts arise between a group of high school classmates, and Teke Teke starts hunting them down one by one. Now, I know that was kind of short, but literally, Teke Teke 2 is kind of like the first movie, so I won't get into too
That just looks weird. It looks, a lot of these things look like zombies more than ghosts or poltergeists or demons, so kind of interesting looking.
much detail. But I liked in this movie, they actually find a way to defeat Teke Teke, and I thought it was really smart how these two girls, I can't remember if that was her friend or her cousin, but I really liked it because the way they defeat her, I think they defeat her at the end, because I saw this like a year ago, which was like last summer, because for some reason I was watching so many Japanese horror movies. It was definitely fun. The way that they defeat her, I'm pretty sure they do. It's really interesting actually, and all I can say is that I had no idea that Teke Teke hated the color red. Well, I guess so because of the blood, but honestly, don't wear red or else you're screwed if Teke Teke finds you. It's definitely a good movie. I might have to rewatch it again because I don't remember what happens, but I definitely remember the scene where they had to go to this like tube stone or something, and they have to fix or destroy it. It's definitely interesting, so definitely give this movie a watch, you guys. But watch the first one if you guys are you'll totally be confused if you don't watch the first one. Just want to say that. Number 4 is Kuchisaki Onna 2. 3 girls grow up.
I just gotta say, a lot of these do feel like independent movies, I'll say that again, but the posters for these are amazing. So, kind of false advertising right there. You got such an amazing poster, but the movie's so horrible. It's kind of I'd rather just have the poster than see the movie of some of these.
Up on a chicken farm in the small town of Gifu. The oldest sister, Sachiko Sawada, is engaged and to be married. The middle sister, Yuki, works at a beauty salon, and the youngest, Mayumi, is on the track team in high school. Their happy, carefree lives are changed forever when Sachiko's ex-boyfriend, Suzuki, commits an atrocious crime with Mayumi in the tragic victim. Half crazed and bent on revenge on the Sawada family, Suzuki mistakes Mayumi for Sachiko and pours acid all over her face. Overwhelmed by the physical and trauma, Mayumi sinks deeper into depression and isolation. Now, I definitely remember seeing this movie way back last summer, and it's the second movie to the first one, the Kuchisaki, or as you guys might know it as the Slit-Mouthed Woman or Carved. This movie was surprisingly good, because usually sequels to a movie aren't really that good, but this one actually was really good.
Very rarely can a movie actually pull off a perfect sequel. Avengers has done it well. Stargate, not so much. Men in Black, what's another horrible sequel? I guess National Treasure. Or no. Hold on, I'll do that one. The second one was actually pretty decent. The Mummy. The sequels to The Mummy were horrible. I like the original. But basically, some movies can pull it off, some can't. Star Wars is another one that can kind of pull it off until Disney touches it, and then they just ruin it.
The same with Teke Teke. And the funny part is, like, the Kuchisaki Onna is not even in this movie. It's like a different new one, and I'm not going to spoil who it is at the end of the movie.
You wanted your female Joker, SJWs? There, let's go back.
The same with Teke Teke. And the funny part is, like, the Kuchisaki Onna is not even in this movie. It's like,
there you go. There's your female Joker. She's got the scars and twisted looks of murder in her eyes. There you go. There's your female Joker. Happy now?
It's like a different new one, and I'm not going to spoil who it is at the end of the movie because that's for you guys to know. But I definitely felt a lot of I definitely felt bad for the main character because what the boyfriend did to her was just wrong on so many levels. Like, imagine having acid poured on your face and she has to like wear like those hospital mask things that a lot of Japanese people wear. And when she goes to school, people kind of like bully her, and I feel really bad, but she likes this one guy and stuff happens, and I feel really bad for her because it's not really her fault, to be honest. But I'm not going to spoil it because, you know, the ending, I think it's pretty interesting. But I don't know if that's as good as the first one. I think the first one might actually be better. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, my memory on this movie is a little off. But I definitely remember the acid scene and parts of the movie. But I can't really give you my full thoughts on it. But I thought it was really good. So definitely give this movie a watch, you guys. Number 3 is Hitori Kakurenbo shi Jikikoban. At school, Shiori
That's a mouthful to say.
hears rumors about someone who had a spiritual experience while playing creepy hide and seek. That day when visiting her brother, she finds that no one is there but a web browser suspiciously opened on a creepy hide and seek bulletin board. Together with her brother's childhood friend, Shirashi, she goes out to find her missing brother. Now, this hide and seek game is actually based off on a real game. I think what you do, you have a doll and you have to have like red thread and you have to stab the doll or something like that, and you have to have water and rice involved. I don't want to talk about it because I definitely don't want any of you guys playing this game because I don't know if it's real or not, but I just don't want you guys getting hurt, you know. But honestly, the first time I saw this movie, there's actually a few jump scares in this movie, surprisingly. But I have to kind of complain that there's just, I mean, it's kind of slow because usually the good stuff happens at the end, kind of. But I like that it's kind of focused on a school, and if you know me, I love it when Japanese horror movies are filmed or focused on in a school, because I don't know why, it's just like, or an apartment, it just makes the movie better for some reason, and it's definitely more creepier, especially if it's in a school, because the school is so big. And there's like so many options and places where the ghost could get you, and I don't know, it's just fun to me. But yeah, I feel bad for the main character because she kind of gets wrapped up in this hide and seek game and she wants like no part of it, but the only reason she's kind of like wrapped into it because her brother's missing and she's like with her brother's best friend, and there's actually a sad reason behind the ghost.
You're kind of losing me there. Again, this plot doesn't really seem very well written, but it seems very confusing.
I totally forgot the ghost's name because I don't think it really has a name, to be honest. I think the ghost just becomes whatever doll you use. I could be wrong, but there actually is like a story of a girl that died in the school, and I think that's her haunting the school or something like that. It's kind of confusing. It's like kind of both things kind of collide. I don't know. I would have to like read stuff about it or hopefully find like a review on it on YouTube, because again, people don't know that this movie even exists and there are no reviews on it, so it's really hard to give like a brief explanation. And I actually rewatched this movie a couple of days ago because I wanted to rewatch it to see if I would remember stuff. But yeah, there's actually a few scenes where the character will be talking and he'll pause and then he'll like continue, and it's like, why the frick are you doing that? And I have to complain about, again, the darkness in some of the scenes. Oh my god, I hate it. Even if you watch it in the dark, you won't be able to tell what's happening, and that's kind of a complaint I have. But yeah, I definitely remember watching this movie and I liked it a lot, and it took me a while to find this movie because again, it's not that popular and a lot of people don't know about it, but I thought it was an okay movie, so definitely give this movie a watch, and please don't play the game, you guys. Number 2 is Ju-on, The Beginning of the End. Yui becomes a homeroom teacher at the elementary school. She visits.
Okay, wait a second. That kid looks familiar. Wasn't it parodied in Scary Movie 2? Maybe 3? I can't remember, but I know it's in one of the Scary Movies. And I just remember they start saying things that sound like Japanese words and complete incohesive sentences, and like God, I can't remember any of them. It's been a while since I've seen a Scary Movie, but it was hilarious.
This is the home of her student Toshio Sake. Because Toshio Sake refuses to attend school, soon Yui faces horrifying phenomenons. 14 years ago, the family that lived in the home all died. She visits Toshio Sake's house again and finds a box in the closet. The box is a gateway to the secrets of the doomed house. Now, I know it might seem a little bit unfair to put a Ju-on movie so high on the list because some of the Ju-on movies aren't that good as like the first one. Well, actually the first one is like the third or fourth movie. Surprisingly, yeah, I know, I thought it was the first one too, and if you guys know what I'm talking about, it's Ju-on the Grudge, or Ju-on in Japanese. But I really actually liked this movie, and the only reason I kind of watched this movie because there was a Japanese actress slash model I really liked, and her name is Rena Trindle. I really like her, so when I found out she was in the movie, I was like, I have to watch this movie. And the way she kind of, well, spoiler alert, she dies, of course, everyone dies in this movie. The way freaking, like, she gets killed is that she gets, like, slid across the floor, like, dragged, and it's kind of funny. I think she goes flying up in the air, too, and I kind of felt bad because I kind of laughed, but yeah, that's kind of the only reason I watched it. It definitely was interesting. Again, I watched this, like, actually, I watched it at the beginning before the first day of college, actually. So, surprisingly, this movie kind of helped me cope, like, to calm down, because I was kind of nervous of the first day of school, like, who isn't? And, of course, I was watching it by myself, because at the time, I didn't have a roommate, so any sound I heard would just scare the crap out of me. But yeah, this movie somehow helped me.
It's interesting, the psychology behind horror movies, because the best way they say to watch horror movies is alone in the dark with the sound turned up. It sends you into a paranoid frenzy because you're watching a horror movie, you're getting so indulged into it, you're ignoring everything around, and you forget certain things. Like, say you get an ice maker that starts to go off, you will jump when you hear it because you're so invoked into this. Your mindset is focused on this movie. Even with non-horror movies, sometimes if you're really into a movie, horror movies just are a better choice because the suspense and everything. You're just sitting there on edge, and then you hear a loud noise coming from your house, and you immediately jump. So it's very interesting. But yeah, it causes you paranoia because you're watching the horror movie and you're not focusing everything. So even after you get done, your mind's still thinking in that onset, and every noise you hear, you start second guessing what it might be. It's pretty interesting.
Just calm down, and I don't know, it's kind of like a comfort movie to watch before you go to college the first day. I don't know, it's definitely an interesting movie, so definitely give it a watch. And this movie actually focuses on Toshio a little bit more, actually. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Definitely give this movie a watch, you guys. And number 1 is Poved, the Cursed Film. As part of a show, Haruna and Mari watch a ghost video submitted by a viewer, only to experience strange occurrences that later draw the crew to Haruna's school, the location of the taken video. Oh my god, where do I begin with this video? Other than this movie is amazing, and it sucks because, again, it's really not that famous, and it's barely on top 10's list. It might be like on top 20 list because I don't know why a lot of people don't know about this movie. It's really good.
Like I said, a lot of these they sound like independent films, so that's why you'll never see them on a mainstream top 10, top 15, or even top 5 list. Is because they're not mainstream. They're not made by massive corporations that are well known to produce very good quality films.
It's kind of like a documentary movie, and I like that the characters are always talking and something always happens. Like, I like that it's never a dull moment, and the scenes where they get to the school, especially at nighttime, that's when stuff really goes crazy. Like, there's this one scene where they're running in the halls, and it's pitch black, and they turn on the camera, and it's green, and it's shaky, and you have no idea what's going on, and it's just like such an adrenaline rush, and that's kind of the reason why I put it at number 1, because there was just no other movie I could find that could top.
That looks like the Blair Witch Project. I'm just calling it out. Okay? The camera, the way they got it running and everything, just like in the Blair Witch Project. Shooting in a first perspective view. Like a first person shooter, first perspective view. You don't ever see the actual main character who's holding the camera, very rarely, unless they turn around and do one of those kind of shots and then turn it back around. But that perspective, and it adds a certain unique feature to the horror movies. And that's why I love movies that use first-person perspectives through a crappy camcorder. Because it just adds on to the horror, and it works all the time. Horror movie companies, or film companies, use this technique more in horror movies, and you'll get a better audience.
This movie, and I know that sounds really cheesy because some of the other movies on here you might think are better than this movie, but again guys, this is my opinion, and I just really love this movie. And I like that it's focused on like a ghost girl and how obsessed she became like with videotaping ghosts, and it just drove her to madness, and it's just really interesting. I don't want to spoil it, and I like that there's a teacher involved. She's like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts, and then, you know, this stuff happens at the school, and she's like, holy cow, maybe this might be real. It's just very interesting. I like how all, like, the characters are just really energetic, and there's like a plot twist, kind of. It's like one of the person in the crew is actually responsible for one of the reasons, and it's just so interesting, and I just really love this movie a lot. And when I first watched it, there were actually a few scenes that actually gave me jump scares, believe it or not, because I watch Japanese horror movies a lot, and they just don't scare me. Like, maybe when I was younger, but the more Japanese or horror movies you watch, you kind of just get used to, and you're just like, meh. But yeah, definitely love this movie, so please give this movie a watch. You can watch this movie on YouTube if you want. And that is going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I do apologize if I said some of the names wrong in this video. Again, I'm not really good with...
I think we can end right here. Very interesting. Again, these sound like more like indie films, so I'll do some more research into the companies to see if they were indie films or not. Because if they are not, if they're big companies, then wow, it must have been a very low budget movie for some of the quality of the movies. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and leave a comment. Please subscribe and follow Lovable Hatsune Miku. And as always, have a nice day. Live, love, and game on.